What did you call me? I ain't short. I'm stocky. It's time for Combat Patrol Carnage. Hello and welcome back to Combat Patrol Carnage. It's time for us to put our Kahl through his paces as he has a grudge to settle with some orcs. So we'll be doing just that. We've got some tokens we've had to cut out from the back of the magazine, which I photocopied earlier and mounted onto some card. So yeah, we've got some judgment tokens which will be coming in very handy for use in our games. So before we hit the table and roll our dice, don't forget to, of course, do all the usual. Like this video if you're enjoying the content, subscribe to the channel if you haven't done so already, drop me a comment down below. Love hearing back from you guys, and it goes a massive way to helping out this channel as well. Finally then, Combat Patrol Carnage is proudly sponsored by warbay.shop, your one-stop supply for all your hobby needs. They stock everything you need from getting your forces started to expanding into a full-scale war. They also have all the paints and hobby supplies you need to bring your models up to the perfect tabletop standard. And they finally stock all your past and present partworks from Hachette, including Combat Patrol. So if you're looking for the extra issues, check out the link in the video description and you might just find the one you're needing. So, right, let's head to the table then and we'll try out our Kahl as he dishes out some judgment. Hello everyone, welcome back to our final issue, or final video for issue 52. And, well, here's Narun, or Narun, ready to pass judgment. We've got some orcs to face in just a second. But first we got some rules to read. So let's dive into issue 52, and then we'll set up the battlefield, and we'll play through our scenario. So this is the last time we've got to flick through our magazines. I passed a paint guide, past our lore and naming page. Which brings us to here, scenario 32, Bitter Judgment. As explosions racked the hull of the vessel, its Voidmaster surrendered to the inevitable. The ship would be lost. The crew crammed into the most secure part of the ship, where they had one final duty before their death, to commit their minds to the ship's legacy vault, in the hope that one day it would be discovered and returned to the Votann. Nothing was certain, but if the vault was recovered, a scan of the crew's minds during their final moments could be uploaded from the vault into the collective consciousness held within the sacred ancestor core. No sooner were the crew's neural patterns recorded than the ship tore through the atmosphere of a nearby planet in a ball of flame before crashing into the surface. The remains of the ship were scattered far and wide, but by quirk of fate, the ship's Kahl survived the crash. As he emerged from the debris, he heard the howls of approaching orc looters and prepared himself to defend the precious legacy vault. It's a nice little bit of actual story to these scenarios now, which is kind of cool. To play Bitter Judgment, set up your battlefield on one mat as shown over leaf. Then the players gather their armies. The Orc player selects 4 units of 3 Boyz, dividing the weapons as they choose. So that's nice. The Leagues of Votann player selects their Kahl. The units are deployed in accordance to the deployment instructions below. So, deployment. First, the Leagues of Votann player places a Kahl in the center of the board within 3 inches of the objective marker. The Orcs player rolls on the table over leaf to deploy their units one by one during their command phase, starting with the first command phase on the first turn. In this scenario, the Orcs player takes the first turn. In this scenario, you may not take enhancement secondary objectives, and neither side can use faction abilities or stratagems. Although we are using Judgement Tokens, which is part of the Kahl's battle record. How to win. The game lasts for 4 battle rounds. The Leagues of Votann player gains 1 victory point for each Orc model destroyed. The Orc player gains 12 victory points for destroying the Kahl. In the 4th battle round, if a player controls the central objective during their command phase, they score 8 victory points at the end of the 4th battle round. The player with the largest number of points is the winner. If both players have an equal number of victory points, the battle is a draw. So a massive 20 points to either side for wiping out and claiming objectives, so pretty cool. So here we have our battlefield. So Mat 1, we've got 4 Orky deployment zones. We've got 4 bits of wreckage, signaling and depicting the remains of the crashed ship. And this is all like the floorboards of the crashed ship. Then we got our reinforcement table. So the Orc player deploys a new unit during their command phase of each of their turns. The table below shows which unit should be deployed in each turn. Follow the instructions to decide which deployment zone they should be deployed into. So turn 1, you get 3 Orc boys. Turn 2, 3 Orc boys. Oh, it's 3 Orc boys for all 4 turns, really. So each turn, the Orc player rolls a d6 on a 1 to 4. They deploy in the corresponding deployment zone. So if you roll a 2, they deploy in a 2. On 5 or 6, you can choose your deployment zone. Judgment Tokens reminder. When Judgment Tokens are allocated to units attacking Leagues of Votann models, gain an advantage when trying to hit and wound them. When the enemy unit has 1 Judgment Token, Leagues of Votann models add 1 to their hit roll when targeting that unit. When they have 2 tokens, they add 1 to the hit and wound rolls. So it really pumps up the amount of damage you can do to your opponent with the Judgment Tokens. Finally, we've got a tutorial on how to use Judgment Tokens. So when Judgment Tokens are allocated to enemy units, they give Leagues of Votann units an advantage when attacking. In this scenario, you will use the Kahl's special ability to allocate Judgment Tokens. But when you are playing with a full combat patrol, there is also an ability that allows you to allocate them in other ways. Grim Efficiency. In this example, the Kahl uses Grim Efficiency ability to allocate a Judgment Token to one of the Orks Boyz units. Unit 3 Boyz to the right is hidden behind a container, and the Kahl does not have a clear line of sight. Because there is no clear line of sight, he can't select this unit to allocate a Judgment Token to. However, the Kahl can clearly see the unit of 3 Boyz in front of them, so as this is their only choice, the Judgment Token is allocated to these guys. And then we've got a reminder here of 1 Judgment Token and 2 Judgment Tokens. So in this example, the unit of 3 Orc Boyz has a single Judgment Token. The Kahl moves in to attack. His Mass Gauntlet has a weapon skill of 3+, so the player would normally make a roll of 3 or higher to hit the Boyz. Because the player can add 1 to the hit roll, the player only needs to roll a 2 in order for the attack to be successful. If the hit is successful, they will need to roll to wound as normal. 2 Judgment Tokens. So in this example, the Boyz have 2 Judgment Tokens. The Kahl again attacks with his Mass Gauntlet, adding 1 to the hit roll, and because they have 2, they can also add 1 to the wound roll, meaning that the player would normally need to roll a 3 to wound. Because they add 1, they now need a 2. So there we go. We got a victory thing over the page, so I won't spoil that, but what we do have on the back cover is 2 rows of Judgment Tokens, which you cut out in the pairs and simply fold them in half and stick them together. I actually folded mine over a bit of card to make them a bit more durable. I photocopied the back page, and yeah, ready to add some judgment to the enemies. So we'll set the battlefield up, zoom out, and we can play scenario 32. So here we are all set up. Our Kahl is in the center as instructed, guarding the central objective. I've got my units of Boyz, so I've got 1 unit with shooters and a big shooter, 1 unit with choppers, 1 unit that's all shooters, and a final unit that's all choppers. So we've got my special green dice to roll for deployment zone, and Orks get first turn. So with that, let's get started. First off, we'll roll. We've got a 6. I get to choose. So I think we will take the chopper boys. No, we won't. We'll go shooter boys with a big shooter first, I think. And we're going to deploy up here. So that's deployment. So that's command phase done. Movement. We don't really need to move. The big shooter is a rapid fire weapon, so as long as we're in 18, we're fine. So yeah, we can stay where we are, I think. Everything's 18, yep. So we'll stay where we're 2, and we shoot the Kahl. So normally our big shooter will get 3 attacks. It's rapid fire 2, and we're in range, so we get 5 attacks. Hitting on 5s. Ooh, 3. And it's strength 5, tough 5, so 4s. 2 of them, no AP. So a 3+ armor for our Kahl. Ooh, he's failed 1. So he will take a wound. We've then got 2 shooters, which are 2 attacks each, and they are also rapid fire, but only rapid fire 1. So 6 shots from them, hitting on 5s. Nothing, so that's fine. The big shooter's done all the weight. And now it's over to the Kahl's turn, so he can move 5. And once per battle round in the command phase, so we'll do it. We'll forget I've forgot it, and we'll do it. We'll pass out a Judgement Token, which he would have been able to see anyway. So Judgement Token to the Orc boys there. So now he's got 3 attacks with his Disintegrator Pistol, and 6s are devastating wounds. So that's auto wounds? Oh, no 6s, but 1 hit, because that becomes a 3. Not doing too well. It's a Strength 5 pistol, Toughness 5, so force a wound. He hasn't wounded. Oh boy, can we get the combat? We need a good 5 on our roll to get into combat. We do, we get an 8. So he's going to charge up to the Orcs. And now we get to punch them with our fists. Again, 3 attacks, hitting on a 3+. That's a 2 with a +1, but 6s, not devastating wounds on the fists. But it's Strength 8, not double the toughness sadly, so 3s to wound the Orcs. Oh, nothing. And the Orcs then will get the fight back with their close combat weapons, which have 2 attacks each, so that's 6, hitting on 3s. Missing 4, so that's good for the Kahl. Wounding on 5s, nothing. Okay, over to the Orcs' turn. We now get to bring in a new unit, so turn 2. Nobody's earned any points yet. So deployment zone 1, which I believe is actually the same zone we're already in. Yes, deployment zone 1 is the top zone. So we're going to need to get stuck in this time, so let's bring in the chopper boys. So seeing as the shooter boys are kind of pathetic, they're going to fall back, even though they do love a good scrap. They're going to fall back, which allows the slugger boys to shoot with their pistols. So 3 shots hitting on 5s. Nothing. Charge of 4. Oh, there we go. 5 on 1 dice. These guys are overzealous. They've charged into the Kahl. And because he hasn't got a Judgement Token on them, it's going to be harder to hit and wound these guys. So we've got our choppers, which have 3 attacks each. So 9 dice. Hitting on 3s. Ooh, not done too well. Wounding on strength. Only 4, so 5s. 2 wounds on the Kahl and -1 for choppers. So a 3 up is down to a 4 up. Save them both on 5s. He gets to fight back then with his mass gauntlet, hitting on 3s. 2 hits, wounding on 3s, 1 wound. That is enough to kill an Orc because it's a -2 to AP, so no save and only 1 wound each. So 3 damage is brutally going to brutalize an Orc, brutally. So that means we have scored 1 victory point. What I'm going to do is we'll use command points for victory points, I think, for the moment, because we don't have any 1 victory point tokens. I'll say victory point token, actually. Yeah. So yeah, 1 point so far for killing an Orc, and I forgot to move the wound marker. So that's the Orc's turn. Over to the Kahl's turn. He's got his pistol. Actually, it doesn't say it's a pistol, so it's not able to shoot. So straight to combat, the Kahl's turn, so the Orcs fight first. Only 2 Orcs and choppers left now, so hitting on 3s. Ouch! They've exerted too much energy with that charge. Wounding on 4s. No, 5s. No, yes, right the first time. 4. Still doesn't wound. Ooh, Kahl is safe for the moment. Right. I've done it again. Let's pass out a Judgement Token. Everything hits. Can we kill these Ork boys? No, we can't. That's 1 dead Ork at least. And another victory point. Because we only get 1 point per Ork destroyed. And that's it for the Orks. Over to... Oh, sorry, that's it for the Kahl. Over to the Orks for turn 3. So roll to see which deployment zone we come in on. 3, which I believe is actually this one down here. Yes, deployment zone 3. And you know what? We're going to gun him down. So I'm going to sit back in deployment zone 3 like that. We're going to fall back because this Ork's seen his mates die. He's now a cowardly Ork. Is everyone within 18? They are. So don't need to move anybody. So let's try gunning down this Kahl. Big shooter first. 5 attacks. In the tray. Hitting on 5s. Only the 1. Wounding on 4s. Wounds. 3+ save. Saved. Then let's do them all at the same time if I've got enough dice, which I don't think I do because I didn't get all my dice out. I've only got 9. So we'll do the 2 in the unit that's shot with a big shooter first. So 2 + 1 for rapid fire, hitting on 5s. Cocked. That's actually giving me more hits now because I've accidentally knocked a dice. And wounding on shooters are strength 4, so 5s. 3, nice. 3 saves of 3+. Ouch, he's failed 2. Down to 3 wounds. Oh boy, this isn't going very well. And then we got the Ork boys back there. 9 shots of their shooters. Actually, they're not within 9, are they? So they won't get the rapid fire. I forgot about that. It's 9 inches. Oh no, yeah, they are just in the 9, so they do get the rapid fire. So that's 9 shots then, hitting on 5s. Strength 4, tough 5, 5s. Wow. In small games, my Orks seem to do really well at shooting. 4 saves on the Kahl, so I'm going to need another black dice out. Can he make them all 3+? Ooh, so far so good. He's fine. Still on 1 wound. Over to the Kahl then. He's going to pass out a Judgement Token and he's going to pass it out onto this guy just so we can wait. Actually, no, wait. I'm going to try and shoot him. So we'll pass it onto these guys. So they got 2 tokens. So I'm going to shoot the one that's got 1 token on. So hitting on 2s. Everything hits. Wounding on 3s. 2 wounds. That's enough to blast this Ork off the board. And that's another victory point. Now I can charge, needing a 4. Yeah, he's in with a 10. He's going to go down swinging with his mass gauntlet on 2s. That's everything. And also 2s. Again, that's everything. That's the unit wiped out. Punch, 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 punch. And that is... we've got a 5 there, so we'll get rid of the 5 and put 1 back for 6. We can consolidate towards an enemy unit. I know it's going to put me in danger range. But moving on to Orks turn 4. Final turn. So where does our new unit of Boyz pop up? 2, which is the top corner there. And we will go with a Chopper's Boys unit. And these guys are going to advance themselves out and try and get on that objective. Ooh, that 5 would be nice. A 4, that's still good enough. Giving them 9, which gets them to the objective. Orcs are playing tactical. Shooting phase, 9 shots going at the Kahl, I'm afraid. Shoot him! Shoot him! Hitting on 5s as usual, so only 3. Wounding on 5s. Ooh, 1. No minuses on this, so a single save of 3+. Ooh, the Kahl is down. And the ship has fallen to the boys who get to loot. So, end of the game then. So the Kahl has 6 points from killing Orks. And we get 8 points at the end of the game if we control the objective. So the Orks actually get 20 points, 12 for killing the Kahl, and the 8 for holding that, giving them the victory. So there we go. Right, we'll bring the magazine back in. We'll give you the final thoughts on this battle and the victory speech. So there we go. Wasn't the best outing for our Kahl for his first time, but I really did enjoy playing with him. The Judgement Tokens is a fun little thing, and I think in larger games where you get the chance to spread them out more, there's better chances if you get into 2 tokens on 1 unit. In this, we only had the 4 turns, and I did at least manage to get 1 unit up to 2 tokens, which is pretty cool. All in all, it was a fun little mechanic. Really does give the Votann something that shows they've got the advancement in technology, as well as that little bit of a hint that they are based on the dwarves of sort of classic fantasies. So yeah, pretty cool there. So yeah, the judgments and grudges are going to be very good and important. So let's, first off, we'll give our victory speech. So it was an Orc victory. The overwhelming strength of the Orcs is enough to wrench the Kahl's prize from them, and as the Kahl falls, the Orcs are already prodding and kicking at the vault. Whatever happens, it probably won't last long now. So unfortunately, our Kahl didn't do too well. I really do like the look of that paint job there. They've actually used a blue-green to highlight the black armor, and that does look pretty cool compared to the dark grey we've used. So if we want to do something like that in the collections paint scheme, I'd recommend probably Macragge blue and a tiny spot of Calgar blue for a spot highlight. But if you want to add your own particular colour to it, I'd say either Stegadon Scale Green and then Sotek Green, or Incubi Darkness and Cabalite Green for a more greeny look. So there we go. Right, the last thing to do then, seeing as we've now faced the Orcs, let's roll a grudge. So 1, 2 or 3 we go for here, 4, 5 or 6 we go for there. It's a 4, so here we are. The Orcs stole a void ship, and before it could be recovered, they completely ruined it by trying to add dubious improvements. Yep, that works kind of for the scenario, seeing as we lost the scenario. The Orcs have took what's left of the void ship and tried to make it better. Or better. Oi, it always gets better with the Orcs making it. I'm sure it does, Bork. I'm sure it does. But there we go. Last thing to do then is see what's in our next 2 combat patrols. So issue 53 and 54 brings us part 1 and 2 of the Hearthkin Warriors. I've already filmed the build guide for this, but I think I'm going to have to try and merge the 2 issues into 1 week's worth of videos, as due to my back making recording lately kind of impossible due to not being able to sit for too long in one position. I'm a bit behind on issues, and the next set of issues should be some arriving either next week or the week after, meaning I'll crack on and get these guys painted and the entire issue covered. So I won't be doing a play video as such, due to the fact that yeah, I won't really have time. There will be a play video for issue 54 as we have the scenario to try out the Hearthkin Warriors. So I'll do a jumbo paint guide where we use the updates for the Chaos Space Marine and Orks and the Hearthkin Warriors, as I won't be taking them to the full paint guide. I'm just going to get them to the wash stage and I'm going to leave them kind of as they are. Then I'll do a lore video, and then of course we've got our little scenario video as well. So there we go. Then after that we've got 2 more units of Votann stuff, which will be arriving, as I said, very soon. That is it then for issue 52. Really fun issue, really lovely model. I've always wanted to try and build and paint one of these guys, and when I saw this collection was coming out, I put off buying one myself. The only one I did buy for myself is one we're not getting in the collection, which is this guy, the Grimnir, who is pretty much a space wizard. Looks really cool. And in the next 2 issues, there's one article that shows this guy painted in the Kronos Hegemony color scheme. And yeah, I'm going to be copying that, maybe using some of the tips in the paint guide as well. So it shows all the robes to be pretty much yellow, but I think the top robe here might be a good idea to do that brown with the beige trim. Then do yellow on this slot. Maybe the hood if it's not exactly attached in place of the cloak. Yeah, no, it looks like that's a sort of a separate piece that comes up from the underrobe. So do the hood maybe in yellow. Yeah, he looks pretty cool, and he's got his 2 little drones which are kind of out of reach. So there we have it. As I said, hope you've enjoyed this video, and I hope you found the little battle kind of interesting. Who were you rooting for? Were you rooting for the Kahl, or were you rooting for the Orks? Let me know in the comment section down below. And what's left for me to do is say thank you all very much for watching. I hope again you've enjoyed this video, and I will see you next time for more Combat Patrol Carnage. Goodbye.